Hi guys, it's Nicole, and today I am sharing another layout with Creating with Collections Volume 3. If you are new to my channel, this is kind of a self-initiated challenge that I had started last year where I take a paper collection, a couple types of embellishments, and I sort of see how far I can get using all of those supplies and like cardstock from my stash. Typically, each time that I've done this, I have a loose plan in mind as far as maybe a set of photos to work through. Volume 2, I focused on Easter. This one in particular, I am doing month in review layouts for 2020. So in addition to the Hello Today collection from Simple Stories, I also picked up a couple pieces of paper and the sticker sheet from the Simple Stories quarantined line, as I knew starting with the month that I'm working on here, which is March of 2020, certain things were going to start to become apparent in my month in review photos that I felt like I wanted to be able to bring in a little bit of what was going on specifically to our lives, but was also kind of going, out in the world and stuff without needing to do any kind of like dedicated like news article themed type of layout addressing everything. For me, I kind of tend to just only concern myself with sort of what happens behind my front door. So that is going to just be how I tackle sort of everything that's been going on as well. I have always said, do what works for you. If this does not work for you, then just enjoy the video for background noise or whatnot. So this is also the first one during this process that I am going into a 2-page layout. January and February, I knew were going to more than likely be a single page layout based on the fact that I had 18 or less photos. I am still making my own templates. Anybody that was waiting on a video showing how I do my own templates, that video went up before this one, so it is available to go and watch. I mentioned in that video that this is just how I personally do it with the software that I have and obviously the photos that I have. So it's definitely specific to sort of my process and my technology, but you may get a benefit out of it because for the most part, the stuff is the same depending on which version of Photoshop that you have. And I kind of talked about that in the video. Now, even though I'm going from a single page to a double page, I'm still kind of keeping the general layout the same. This, of course, because it's the first time that I'm trying to figure out how to work this into a 2-page layout, I'm kind of back to where I was with January's layout, where I have answers to some questions, but I'm still trying to figure it out as I go along, because this is basically going to be my roadmap to the rest of the layouts that end up being double page layouts as well. So I'm just kind of starting with the things that I know. And that would be, the amount of photos that I'm working with. So I start there, I figure out what are those photo collages going to look like. I broke it up into 2, which are basically 5 photos by 3 photos. So I'm getting 30 photos across this specific one. I think April I ended up with a little more or a little less. I can't quite remember. And then from there, I am bringing over certain techniques or certain kind of decisions that I have already put in place from the previous 2. So I'm taking the 6x4 cut apart that has the month name on it, and I'm doing a border punch on that using the same one every month. That's going to make these layouts that would at first glance seem kind of chaotic and messy and not have like a distinct cohesiveness. They actually do, because I'm using the same line. The same color palette is going to be represented across all 12 of these. Doing things like the border punch and the notebook die and keeping certain elements in the same places on each layout are also going to kind of help with it making sure that the layouts all kind of belong together in a sense, even though they're not going to live together in my albums. So anytime during the process, like you saw me messing around with one of the cutter parts and trying to figure out what I was going to do down at the bottom, if I can't make a decision, I move on to something that I do know what I need to have done or what I want to have done. So in this instance, I set that stuff aside. I said I'll figure it out later. I know that I'm going to stamp hearts on important dates on these little calendar cards. That's something that's making it personalized to my layout, personalized to the month in review project, that kind of a thing. From there, because I still need to die cut that card, I'm still just kind of checking the sticker sheets, the papers that I've already cut up, and just kind of trying to figure out, is there anything that I feel like I want to use on this month? Is there anything that I want to make sure that I don't forget to put on here? While I'm also still trying to figure out kind of how to cover some gaps or cover just some weird angles with the different papers that are being tucked in. With the single page layouts, they all kind of end up being tucked into a square. And this is more, you know, once it's being spread out across the two, you can tell I don't have like that messy sort of squared up mat that everything lives within, but I'm okay with that. But like I said, this is the first 2-page version that I'm doing, so it's just kind of a lot of figuring out what do I like, what do I think is going to work, and what do I also think is going to work for the next one. Like, is it a design principle that I can go ahead and repeat on the next double if it's gonna be a double for April, which, spoiler alert, April's a double too. May as well. I already actually finished the layout for April, and I have my photo collage printed for May, but I had to stop and start working on design team layouts for the scrap room, so I've got kind of a whole slew of videos that I need to start editing while also really wanting to stay in this project. So I feel like a lot of times when I can't make a decision, it's because I'm bouncing between projects, and this is like the one that is the most motivating right now. Like, I want to sit here and just do all of these because I'm enjoying this collection. And I think what's nice about it is the 2 other times that I've done creating with collections, once I've done that first layout, it gets a little easier because you've already cut some of the papers. But in volume 1 and volume 2, every time I did a layout, I had access to all of the papers, and 9 times out of 10, I was choosing my favorite patterns first and kind of going from there. This one is nice because each month has a dedicated pattern paper for that month. So I'm really only cutting into just that one pattern paper, and then going to the 6x8 pad, and then kind of any of the previous months. So for this layout, as an example, I let myself dig through the scraps that are left over from January's pattern paper and February's pattern paper to see if there's anything that I can cut from that, to kind of tuck here and there. That way I'm not kind of getting to the end and being like, oh shoot, I used something that I shouldn't have used yet, or, you know, diving straight into like my favorite B-sides on these. And I think removing the paper decision is making it a little easier for me as well. On the like title card things, like the one for March, this time I ended up doing a stamp. I think January I did a stamp, February I did like a phrase sticker. So that's something that I'm also including, is some kind of phrase on there. And even on like, I can't read what that says. I think it says "This is real life." I took one of the stickers from the quarantine collection and put it on there so it actually reads "This is real quarantine life." So it's simple things like that that are kind of making it personalized to what is going on. I also found a canceled sticker and stuck that on the month, like towards the bottom, because that was kind of when we found ourselves sort of like, okay, school got closed. My husband is now like moving his office into our garage. Like, what is going on? So that's why when I was picking things out from, I think I ordered from scrapbook.com. When I was looking, I knew for sure I wanted the Hello Today collection because it was going to lend itself for month in review. But I knew that once I got to this layout to March, there was going to be some weird stuff popping up into the photos that I picked. And I wanted to be able to kind of explain it and also be kind of snarky about it. So that was why I was like, okay, I'm going to grab some of the papers from Quarantined, which in my like kit share video, I kind of explained in there that most of the ones that I picked were like the journaling prompts, and then there was a B side to those. And the journaling area over there underneath my ATG is from that Quarantined thing. So it's just giving me areas that I can put my journaling on that also kind of have either text or phrase or some kind of icon on there that's also supporting the theme of just things being canceled, being stuck in your house, everything's not okie dokie, everything's not sunshine and rainbows kind of a thing. And so far I'm like high-fiving past Nicole for making that decision and deciding to combine the two, because this so far has been my favorite version of creating with collections. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this collection is office themed in a sense, and I like that type of imagery and stuff, and the fact that I'm not having to make paper decisions yet. So there is the completed layout. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I will be back with April as soon as I can get that edited, and I'm hoping to jump into 6x6 sketches for page 1 very soon as well. With that, thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch you guys later.